The moment the calabash shattered on the floor, a thick, red liquid spilling out and staining the church's floor, I knew everything we'd been told was a lie. Mama Esther, the woman who promised miracles, who was worshipped like a saint, had been hiding something darker all along. And in that instant, the truth was laid bare. Her powers were not divine. They were something far more sinister. This story happened in my hometown in Nigeria, back when I was in my early 20s. It's one of those memories that stays sharp, no matter how much time has passed. At first, I thought it was just another story people tell, something exaggerated or passed down in whispers. But I was there, I saw everything with my own eyes. In our town, there was a woman called Mama Esther. She wasn't like the other women in the market or around the church. She had this presence, this aura that made you stop and pay attention. She called herself a prophetess, sent by God to heal and deliver people from their problems. And honestly, it seemed like she could. People said her prayers worked miracles. Mama Esther's small church, which started in a wooden shack near the edge of the forest, quickly became one of the busiest places in town. Every Sunday, it was packed. People would travel from nearby villages, even from the city, just to see her. They said she could heal the sick, bless barren women with children, and bring wealth to struggling families. I remember the first time I heard about her. My aunt came back from her service one day, glowing with excitement. She said Mama Esther had prayed for a woman who had been paralyzed for years, and the woman walked out of the church on her own 2 feet. My aunt swore it was true, and she wasn't the kind of person to exaggerate. She's not just any prophetess, my aunt said. This one is different. She's truly anointed. The stories kept coming. A man who couldn't afford to send his kids to school suddenly got a job paying double his old salary after she prayed for him. A couple who had tried to have children for over 15 years had twins after Mama Esther blessed them. Even the elders in the community, who usually stayed neutral about these things, admitted there was something extraordinary about her. Soon, Mama Esther wasn't just a prophetess, she was the prophetess. People brought her gifts, money, food, clothes, even land. She started wearing expensive lace dresses and gold jewelry. Her little wooden church was replaced by a concrete building, but as time went on, not everyone was convinced. Whispers in the dark. There were rumors. Whispers in the market, late at night, when people thought no one else was listening. One woman claimed she had seen Mama Esther near the river late at night, talking to a man no one recognized. Another said she once saw strange objects, calabashes, feathers, and bones, in a corner of the church. Even in my family, there were mixed opinions. My cousin Kemi had a close friend who worked as one of Mama Esther's assistants. One evening, Kemi came to my house looking nervous. Something isn't right about that woman, she told me. Her friend had quit working at the church suddenly, refusing to say why. All she told Kemi was, don't go too close to her. And if you do, never stay alone with her. Kemi pressed her for more, but the girl just shook her head and left town. I shrugged it off. Maybe she's just overthinking, I told Kemi. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't adding up. Everything came to a head one Friday night during a vigil at her church. Mama Esther had declared a special deliverance night for breaking generational curses. The entire town was talking about it. My friends convinced me to go, saying, it will be fun, and maybe you'll see a miracle. The church was packed at night. People were singing and clapping, shouting hallelujah, at the top of their lungs. Mama Esther walked in wearing a white robe with gold embroidery, holding her Bible in one hand and a staff in the other. Her voice was powerful, commanding. At some point during the service, she told everyone to close their eyes and bow their heads. This is a moment of divine breakthrough, she said. I will call upon the heavens to destroy the curses over your lives. Something in me told me not to close my eyes. I don't know why, I just couldn't. As everyone else prayed, I kept my head slightly raised, watching her. That's when I saw it. Mama Esther reached into her robe and pulled out a small calabash. It was dark brown, covered in carvings and tied with red and black cloth. She whispered something into it, then shook it over the crowd. My stomach turned. This wasn't prayer, it was something else entirely. Someone else must have seen it too, because a voice suddenly rang out. What is that in your hand? The room went silent. Mama Esther froze, clutching the calabash to her chest. The voice came from an elder from another church. He stood up, pointing at her. You've been lying to these people. That is not from God. For a moment, no one moved. Then chaos erupted. People started shouting, some defending her, others demanding answers. Two men ran up to her and grabbed the calabash. Mama Esther fought to hold on to it, screaming, "You don't understand. This is part of the work. It's for your blessings." But the men were stronger. They wrestled it from her hands and smashed it on the floor. Inside were bones, feathers, and a thick red liquid that smelled like iron. The elder pointed at the mess on the floor. This is juju. You've been using charms to deceive these people. Mama Esther tried to run, but the crowd blocked her path. Some people screamed at her, others just stood in stunned silence. She kept shouting, "You don't know what you're doing. I'm helping you." But no one believed her anymore. In the days that followed, more stories came out. People who worked closely with her said she buried charms around the church and held secret rituals at night. Some of the women she prayed for admitted they had terrible dreams afterward, visions of dark figures chasing them or strange marks appearing on their bodies. The people who once worshipped her turned on her. She disappeared shortly after that night. Some say she fled to another town, others believe the spirits she called on finally turned against her. Looking back, the whole thing still feels unreal. Mama Esther fooled so many people, and for a while, it seemed like her miracles were real. But the truth always finds its way to the surface. Now, whenever someone claims to be a prophet or healer, people in my town are more cautious. We've learned that not everything that glitters is gold, and not every miracle is from God. It's a lesson I'll never forget. If you enjoyed this story, do well to subscribe for more enjoyable stories.